Alright, so today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to review a new graphics card. We're going to learn a new skill, how to actually read one of these crazy product pages. By the end of this, you'll be able to slice right through all that marketing jargon and those confusing specs to see what really matters. Let's get into it.
You've been there, right? You're looking for a new piece of tech. You click on the product page and bam, you're just hit with this wall of numbers, weird acronyms, and marketing speak. It's just a lot. So our goal today, we're going to turn that feeling of being overwhelmed and feeling totally confident.
Okay, so first things first. Before we dive into the deep end with cooling systems and clock speeds, we need to get our bearings. Let's just figure out what exactly are we looking at here.
So right off the bat, before you even see a single stat, the full name tells you a whole story. You've got the manufacturer, GIGABYTE, right there. Then the core tech, the Radeon RX 9070 XT chipset. And it even gives you a hint about what it's for, with words like gaming and 16G for its memory. See? Every single part of that name is a clue.
Now, these are the 4 big specs the manufacturer puts right at the top, and there's a good reason for that. Honestly, you can think of this table as the card's passport. You've got the brand, which is GIGABYTE, the brain, the AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT, the short-term memory, that's the 16 gigabytes, and its processing speed, the 3060 megahertz. It's the card's entire identity, summed up in just 4 lines.
All right, we've got the basics down. So now let's scroll down to that About This Item section. You know the one. This is where companies pull out all their flashy trademark terms to grab your attention. Our job is to translate these buzzwords into what they actually mean for you. And here's the list, pulled straight from the page. We see some stuff we already know, like the chipset, but then we get these custom terms like WINDFORCE and dual BIOS. These aren't just fancy names they made up. They actually describe features that are designed to make your experience better. So let's break a couple of these down. So what on earth is WINDFORCE? Well, it's just GIGABYTE's fancy brand name for its cooling system. The easiest way to think about it is like a super high-performance air conditioner for your graphics card. See, when you're gaming hard, that card gets hot, really hot. And if it gets too hot, it has to protect itself by throttling, which basically means it slows itself down on purpose. WINDFORCE is all about pulling that heat away as fast as possible so you don't get that throttling and your performance stays rock solid. And then there's this one, dual BIOS. This is brilliant because it's all about giving you options. It's a real physical switch on the card itself. You can flip it to performance mode when you're playing a super fast competitive game where every single frame counts. Or you can flip it over to silent mode. Perfect for when you're playing a beautiful, story-driven game and you just want to get lost in it without hearing any fan noise. Or hey, maybe you're just working late and need the quiet. It's all about putting you in control. Okay, let's move past the marketing stuff and get into the real nitty-gritty, the technical details section. This is where all the big, intimidating numbers live. But don't worry, we are not going to get lost in the weeds here. We're just going to focus on the numbers that have a direct impact on the performance you actually see and feel on your screen. Just look at that number, 7680 by 4320. I mean, that's the maximum screen resolution this card can push out. It's a huge number, but what does it actually mean? In a word, 8K. That's what it means. This one single spec tells you this card is built for the absolute high end. This is for people who have 8K monitors and want those incredibly crisp, mind-blowingly detailed visuals. Whether that's for super immersive gaming or for pro-level creative work like editing high-res video, this card is ready. All right, here's another key number we saw a minute ago, 16 gigabytes. But 16 gigabytes of what? And why is that number so important?
This is the card's VRAM, or video RAM. It's its own dedicated, super-fast memory. The best analogy is to think of it as the card's personal workbench. And a bigger workbench, 16 gigs in this case, lets it handle all those huge, high-resolution game textures and complex 3D scenes without breaking a sweat. It doesn't have to go ask your computer's slower main memory for help. The bottom line is simple. More VRAM means a smoother experience, especially when you crank up the resolution.
And finally, let's talk about speed, because there are actually 2 different kinds of speed to look at here. The GPU clock speed, that's how fast the main chip runs. You can think of it as its thinking speed. Then you have the memory speed. That's how quickly the card can access that 16 gigabyte workbench we just talked about. It's remembering speed. Both are absolutely critical, and any great card needs a healthy balance between the 2. So we've decoded the name, we've translated the marketing, and we've picked apart the key specs. But here's the thing. A product doesn't exist in a bubble. To really understand it, we need to zoom out a bit and see where it fits into the bigger picture. I mean, this is the big question every buyer asks, isn't it?
The specs all look great on paper, but are people actually buying this thing?
Well, the product page gives us a surprisingly direct answer. It's sitting at number 23. But number 23 in what exactly? That's number 23 in Amazon's entire computer graphics cards category. And that is an incredibly competitive space. The page even adds that over 500 of these were bought just in the last month. That's a ton, and it tells us that this card isn't some niche, obscure part. Nope, it's a very relevant and pretty popular choice in the market right now.
And just a quick but important note, the page is really clear about what to expect when that box shows up. No fancy cables or adapters, just the essentials, the graphics card itself and the user manual. Simple, straightforward.
So, we've completely torn down this one specific page, but the real point of all this was to give you a skill you can use again and again. So let's wrap this up by summarizing everything we learned into a clear strategy you can use on any tech product page.
So here it is, your 4-step guide. First, anchor the product. Figure out its core identity right away. Second, translate the marketing. Turn those buzzwords into real, actual benefits for you. Third, isolate the key specs, the ones that actually matter for what you need to do. And finally, number 4, check the context. Is it popular? Are people buying it? If you follow these 4 steps, you can turn any confusing page into a story that makes perfect sense.
And that leaves us with one final thing to chew on. For years, the big race for graphics cards was all about higher resolutions and faster frame rates for gaming. But now, as AI and machine learning get baked into everything we do on our computers, what's going to be the next big must-have spec we look for on these product pages? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.